Hello, good morning. Let's see if some people are on or around. I was just having this conversation with myself, so I was like, yes. While thinking, why not have it here online? Because I just finished another vocal session. And so for people who don't know me, my name is Yasodhara. I've been working like over 15 years, 20 years with my own voice and with other voices. Good morning, everybody. And I just finished this other session, and one of the things that were really that keeps impressing me is how much like we create our voice through judgments. And so if we go and look at a body, like every square millimeter of our body is covered with fascia. It's in, it's out, it's around. Like basically every cell is like created from fascia and then some other elements. And fascia reacts to judgments. So what happens to fascia when you judge, actually when you take on points of views or you have points of views, is that instead of that tissue being fluid, it starts to actually stiffen up and to glue. And so what I love to look at with voices is if you do a lot of judgments about how your voice sounds or how it feels or how it moves itself through your life, how much do you actually start to create your vocal tract based on those judgments, and you literally start like gluing it as something that it's actually not. And what has been so interesting with these sessions, which are a lot of energetic work as well, also from a distance, is to start to allow actually those gluings to start to unravel. And so your voice can start to like loosen up and start sounding totally different. And to me, it's totally crazy how I've, like as a singer, I've been like doing so many gigs, having so many issues, so many problems, but I was all trying to handle them through judgments. And I would like listen to my voice and judge it rather than actually functioning from a totally different space. And so this has been really, really interesting with the Access Consciousness tools and with learning to work with the energetic structure, synthesis of structural embodiment, SE energies as well with voices, to start looking at, wow, what if, hello, everybody. What if your voice, like, have you been looking at creating your voice as something you think it could be, but what if that was actually just like a very limited place to create your voice from? And what is your voice actually capable of if you were willing to commit to never ever judge it again, no matter how it sounds? And it's interesting, like in this last session I just finished, not the last one, but like, you know, the one I just finished. It was interesting to actually look at, oh wow, so what do we do? Like, you know, you listen to something, your voice creates a sound, and then like, what do? Are you curious about it? And when it doesn't sound like you think it should, or when you're like, do you go into like, and you back off? Or do you actually allow yourself to become more present with that and start to ask like, okay, so what is possible here? And so instead of making yourself back off and go into judgment and now like see how you can change it from there, like becoming more present and actually asking questions very often dissolve solidifications from the past to just blow out, and to allow the voice to change, which will affect like sound in a second so dynamically, but also like shapes in a body. And so for some years I've been working a lot with bodies too, and some people are asking like, why is she doing this kind of things, and she was a singer and blah 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 blah. And like the interesting thing about evolving and evaluating and learning new things is that you start to discover, hey, what is it that you actually know? And with all the trainings you've had, with all the experience, what do you have an insight to? And so what is it that you know about bodies also, and about voices? And if you would never ever judge yourself again, would there be a door opening that you've been like smashing to close because you didn't actually want to be aware of what was beyond the judgments. So I don't know if any of this makes sense. I was just having this little conversation in my head, and I was like, wow, I want this to be out in the world. People need to know that like so much more is possible with your voice, and maybe you've never been able to reach it because you've actually been wondering to make something better that was this, what you thought you were. This is my voice, this is how I can sing, or this is how I can talk, which a lot of us do. But what if that was not even 1% of what was actually true about you? And that's the place where I love to look and to play with people, because that's where you're actually gonna look together at like, wow, what if whatever those definitions were just definitions and they weren't really true? They were maybe true in that like a second, like 15 years ago. But now, how many years have you been continuing to build your voice, to build you around something that might have just been like true like for 15 seconds, like 15 years ago? So yeah, so much more is possible with voices. And I'm really excited. I started doing sessions again like this month. I'll put the link in the things. And is it about singing? Yeah, we can make it about singing, but it's also about starting to discover the potency of having your voice. And there is something particular with the release of that, where it amplifies all areas in someone's life, and it can be so quick, and it doesn't have to be hard. And yeah, so if you think like, oh my God, I've never actually allowed myself to have my voice, or maybe you always had to be quiet, or you like, you know, when you make sound, you're like, oh, my neighbors, or oh, what is my husband gonna think, or my wife, or oh, I've had my whole life people telling me that I can't sing. So these are all these definitions and these points of views that we use to actually stop ourselves from discovering what's possible beyond that. And it's very interesting once you let those go, how you can start to unravel many other parts of your life, because there is not one thing that leads to one thing. If you close a door, that affects very often like many areas of your life. And so just a choice to open that affects also many areas of someone's life. And I am truly amazed of what we all are capable of. And I have to say, I've done many trainings for many years. I've been like involved in technical trainings and many different methods with voices, and I like working with like over 60 people a week and singing myself, which was amazing. And those techniques, I sure use them too, but there was always also this area where things like, you know, this glass wall that you would hit eventually. And so with these tools that I'm working now, it seems like that is actually starting to actually crumble and to change. Hello everybody. And so something else become accessible. So if you want to join, you can join me. I'll put the link down below. And maybe just for today, what if you'd start asking like, wow, what is possible with my voice that I've not even considered? And for the rest, I'm going to do some more singing. And I wish you a really awesome day. And yeah, what is possible that you have not considered? I have a painful voice. So what is possible with that, honey? And yeah, maybe I'll do some more lives here, because it has been really fun to actually work with voices like more regularly in the last few weeks. So kiss for today, and have an awesome one.